guys. So we're gonna do a quick, probably 5-7 minute breakdown of John Carter's TTM Squeeze Indicator, which is what you're seeing down here with the histogram and all these dots around here. So a lot of videos on YouTube breaking down what this is and how it works. I just thought I would share a video on how I utilize it and how I've had success utilizing it. So here's the triple Qs on the 30-minute time frame. The way I like to utilize it, so red dots indicate that we're in a squeeze, and green indicates that it's fired. And the stronger type of squeeze is going to be these orange dots here. So let's get into how I utilize it. So on the Qs here, you can see that we're squeezing. We're above an inclining 5 DMA. We're above an inclining 821 EMA on top of an 821 cross up here. So what I would do with this information, especially given we're in a demand zone, my opinion, we're going to break to the upside here. So what I would do, I would wait for a retest here. So we have a break, some consolidation, break. Now we want to retest, which we do get here. When would you enter this? Well, you'd want to make sure we're above the 821 EMAs. So you would enter it here. That's a 30-minute close above the 821 EMAs. What you could do, you could bucket down to a 15-minute time frame and utilize that to get a better entry. So instead of 518, the 15 might have closed above the 821, 517 or somewhere around there. So this is a trade you obviously have bias to the upside on. And you can see here, when everything gets jumbled up here, the 5 DMA and the 821, it gets a little bit more challenging to read on where this might squeeze. So really wasn't much of a move, but the difference here between this squeeze and this one over here, the 5 is flattened out. We're kind of bunched up here. We got to close under the 821 here, but we also closed here. Not really a great signal in all honesty. Again, when everything is bunched like this, it's really hard to read. This one is a lot cleaner over here. So 5 is flat. These have kind of flattened out as well. We're starting to slope down here, right? More importantly, we get an 821 cross. Bias would be for a squeeze to the downside, even though the 5 DMA is flat. So you'd want to enter your trade when we get a 30-minute close under the 8 and 21. Again, you can go down the 15-minute time frame, maybe get a better entry than 520. You're usually always going to have retest too. So let's say enter here at 520. You're going to have retest, which we see right here. We get a drop, a pop, a drop, a pop back up for the EMAs before we get the actual squeeze down here. So it does take some time to play out, especially the higher the time frame, the longer it is going to take to play out. Obviously, you still want to utilize strict risk management for these setups. Here's a good scenario. So the 5 is still inclining, right? 821s are declining. We're in a 30-minute squeeze here. What is this telling us right now? Okay, we got to close back above the 821 EMAs, 5 sloping up, and we have a bullish imbalance candle, letting us know this squeeze, again, you want to look for a closure back above the 821 EMAs, 5 upward sloping. This is giving us bias that more than likely, not always, more than likely the squeeze is going to be to the upside. So when you get that close above here, 43 on the Qs, and we end up having a squeeze, nearly a 10-point squeeze. Again, always going to have retest, guys. So it does take time for the squeeze to play out. Shake you out, whatever you want to call it. But as long as these EMAs continue to hold and the 5 is still upward sloping, you really want to do your best to wait it out. Best way, in my opinion, is with an option. On the Qs or SPY. You could even enter in, a bullish ETF. And you can also play it on NQs too. For the NQs, I like to do it on smaller time frames. So really 15-minute, 5-minute, just because you obviously have to utilize stricter risk management parameters when trading futures. So let's hop over to Bitcoin here. Daily chart for Bitcoin. I'm going to start with this one here. So daily squeeze. The higher the time frame squeeze, the more powerful the move is going to be. And we can see the daily time frame here. We're in a squeeze. We're above an 821 cross up. Consolidation, Bollinger Band. These are not Bollinger Bands. These are 821 EMAs. But what the squeeze is derived from is the Bollinger Bands compressing. So right here, several closes above the 821, holding well. Start to slope up here, letting us know more than likely the squeeze will be to the upside. Now, what do we see for this one right here? We're under 821 cross down, giving us bias that the squeeze is likely to be to the downside. And we can see right here too, same thing. We get that cross down 821 the daily, and then we end up squeezing to the downside here. It's not going to be a straight shot, guys. We're always going to have retests of the 8 or 21 EMAs. So especially the higher the time frame, the more time it's going to take to play out. Squeezing right here under a declining 821 EMA, but we do get a close back above and we get a cross up. So then our bias is going to be to the upside for the squeeze. Now this is the daily time frame, guys. Chewy is a good example of a weekly time frame squeeze. And I've outlined it here. So again, higher time frame squeeze, the more powerful the move is going to be. Just not going to get too much into these, but obviously, we're both flagging out on the weekly chart here. Break above, and again, above an inclining 821 EMA on the weekly time frame. So far, this move, really, your entry would have been break on the flag, and then the EMAs are sloping up here. So 35 entry, and then watch for potential rejections here at this weekly supply zone. But you can see the work this has been doing so far and coming up on that 50 supply zone here. So again, higher the time frame, more powerful the squeeze is going to be. Again, right here, 821 cross down on the weekly gives us bias for the squeeze to be the downside. So 40 to roughly $30. You can use the squeeze, on any instrument. I prefer NQ, QQQ, SPY, ES, Bitcoin, Ethereum is another one. You can actually see right here on Ethereum, we're in a daily squeeze here. And again, orange dots are the most powerful squeeze, as we can see over here. Why would we have bias here that this is going to squeeze to the downside? Well, we're still under an 821 EMA cross down here. Which initially happened back at the beginning of the year, January. And then we get a squeeze, and we might get a close above, but we're still under that cross down. So again, bias to the squeeze would be for the downside. Where would you enter? Well, you'd want to enter when we get a squeeze back, daily close back below the 8 and 21 EMAs. So again, right now Ethereum on the cusp of a really, really large move. What would our bias be? Well, we're still holding the 21 EMA, and the 8 is acting as resistance. So for me to get back in this trade, I would need to see us recapture the 8 EMA here and continue sloping up. But this is going to be a really powerful move here, guys. You can see 2800 to let's call it 2000. So that was an 800 point move. My bias would be for Ethereum to play catch up with Bitcoin. That's not financial advice. It's just my opinion. And that's where I stand with that. So again, higher the time frame, the more confluence the squeeze is going to have. I typically use it on the daily chart, weekly chart, 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, occasionally M5. But really pay attention to those EMAs, guys. Are they sloping up? Is the 5 DMA sloping up? Do we have confluence with a demand zone, a supply zone? Is there a bullish imbalance candle to tag to it? So more points of confluence you can add to the trade. More likelihood, that it's going to pan out in the direction that we're thinking to. It's not always going to. So we obviously have to utilize strict risk parameters. But what I've just shared with you is what I have noticed over the years. Best way to utilize the TTM Squeeze Indicator. And these moves can be really powerful, guys. So definitely something you want to add. Again, I use the pro version. I am not sponsored by them. I don't get paid to promote this or anything. It's just one of the few indicators, outside indicators that I use. I think the free version is just fine. And you can just find that, go into your indicators and TTM Squeeze. And there's a lot out there. The beardy freed one is fine, and greenies is okay too. If you want to go into the settings here, well, John doesn't even actually let you on the pro version change the settings, and you really don't have to. But I didn't touch on the histogram bars, but red tells us, that we're in a decline. Yellow says momentum might start swinging back the other way. I don't pay too much attention to that. I'm really after the red dot and orange dots. So yeah, if you guys have any questions on this, feel free. DM the currency merchant on X. Email tcmoptions@gmail.com, or go ahead and comment on the source script. So again, just a brief rundown of what I'm using: Signal Scope, Algo, TTM Squeeze, basic supply and demand. That's what we've been using for the last several months here to trade, and I've had good success with it with strict risk parameters. So again, guys, hope you have a good night. Any questions, let us know. Thanks.